Another edition of the Coaches Show as we move into week 3 of the college football season. And joining me to break down the Pioneers' upcoming matchup with Morgan State is the head coach of the Pioneers, Mark Nofri. Coach, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
So last week, a tough loss for you guys at Bryant, 17-6 loss against the Bulldogs. Tough game for you guys offensively. What were your takeaways from the game?
I think we just need to play a little bit better and have that chip on our shoulder. You know, our kids were hot and cold in terms of, first quarter we played well. We were moving the ball. We were 3 and out on defense, and, we were playing Sacred Heart football, and then we kind of got away from that a little bit in the second quarter. The momentum changed, and we were never able to recover from that, the tide turning in the second quarter. So, we talked about it after the game, my expectations of them. We have quite a few kids that are upperclassmen and senior leaders, and, I have a different opinion of how we should play. And
you had told me last week that it was new for you guys to be playing conference games in just week 2 of the season. Now having a loss in conference play, how does it change how you view each game moving forward? Know that there's added pressure that you essentially want to win the rest of those games to qualify for a possible championship game appearance.
Well, it goes back to, how much pressure do you want to put on yourself? Me, personally, I look at each week and I don't think ahead. This week our focus is on Morgan State, whether it's a conference game or not. It means the same to me. It's an opportunity to compete and get a win, and winning college football games isn't easy. And we have to go out and play like I know we're capable of playing, with a mindset and an attitude that we've had in the past. And we'll take each week one by one, and we'll move forward from here, and hopefully we'll get a win this weekend, and then we'll look to the following week. But we can't look ahead in terms of trying to predict what's going to happen in the conference. It's a long season. 9 games left, and this week our focus is Morgan State.
Well, with Morgan State, obviously now you're moving out of conference and you're returning home to Campus Field. What are you specifically looking for from your team coming off of that Bryant game that you hope to see on Saturday?
I'm hoping to see us execute in all phases of the game, offensively, defensively, and special teams. I'm looking for us to play with a little bit more emotion, get that swagger back in terms of playing with a chip on our shoulder. It's us against everybody, and people are going to come in here and they're going to want to beat us. It's been that way for a few years, and this year, being picked preseason preseason number 1, schools are going to want to take shots at you, and you got a target on your back. And I'm looking for my kids to respond and how their attitude is going to be this week in practice.
Well, we have some fan-submitted questions that we wanted to ask you. So the first one, how long personally for you does it take to move on from a loss?
Sometimes it lingers. Obviously, I got to do a better job, and we tell kids on Sunday after we watch the film, run and lift. On Sunday, it's over with, and you got to move on. You got to put it behind you, and you can't think about it. You can take some of the corrections, and you can learn from the mistakes you made on Saturday, but you got to move on and focus on the next game, which is Morgan this week. So I would say Sunday night.
And our last submitted question is, you guys have a lot of experienced leaders on this team, from your captains and even just your senior leaders. How much do you rely on them to carry that mentality of moving forward after a loss that you guys had?
I rely on our captains and our senior leaders and my leadership council. I think they're the backbone of the team in terms of the communication between some of the younger guys, some of the kids that haven't been with us for 4 or 5 years. They need to understand the culture and what's expected of them on and off the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, how they practice, how they watch film. So to me, those guys that we have that are on the leadership council, they're like an extension of the coaches. They're the ones that are going to train and teach the younger kids in terms of what it's all about and what they expect in the culture that we built, that the upperclassmen have built here. So I rely on them a lot, and I'm very happy and thankful for the kids I have this year, and I think it's a great group of kids, and hopefully we'll get it fixed tomorrow afternoon at 1 when we practice.
If you want to get your questions in to ask Coach Nofri, be sure to submit them on Twitter every week. The Pioneers return home to Campus Field this Saturday as they welcome in Morgan State. Coach Nofri, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
We continue with the latest edition of the Sacred Heart Coaches Show. I'm now joined by the head coach of the Sacred Heart Field Hockey Team, Coach Sidney. Coach, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, you're a couple games into your season so far. What do you like about your team so far?
We have a big roster this year. We have 28 people on the team, but all 28 are gelling well together. They are from the freshmen to the sophomores to junior seniors. They are actually friends on the field and off the field. We classify the team as like a family, and they are really like a family at the moment. They've got each other's backs, both on and off the field. They're helping each other in the classrooms. which is great. So practices, we have a lot of fun. There's always joking and laughing in the practices, and obviously always be serious as well. But the girls are actually, it's actually a fun group to work with.
Last year, obviously, field hockey was one of those fall sports that was impacted by the postponement of the fall season, moved into the spring season. What was the most challenging part for you last year, having to adjust from not having a fall season to now all of a sudden preparing for a season in the spring?
Yeah, the fall we were obviously practicing here on campus. We were in pods, so that was difficult because we couldn't have any contact with each other, so it was just pod practice. And then obviously we went to the spring, which was very different season because it was a very shortened season. It was just we had one non-conference game and conference games. It was a very shortened season, so it was a big adjustment going to this year. But the girls were excited. Like from pre-season, were like, this time last year we were practicing with pods, and this year we can open. So it's a good adjustment. They adjusted very well on that.
And one of the things that was a little different from last year, along with the spring season, was you usually play your games over at Yale University, but as a result of moving your season to the spring, you got an opportunity to play on campus. You played over at Campus Field. What was that like, having an opportunity to play on campus where students didn't have to travel far to see you guys play?
Yeah, you're right. The students haven't traveled far, so they were here. It was great being back on Campus Field, because we were back on campus. So it allowed. I know we weren't the last couple of games we allowed fans back in the game, but it was nice because the locker room's here on campus. The girls had to travel, wake up early, go to practice in the mornings. They could literally go from the locker room straight onto the field. So the girls enjoyed that. And it was nice just being back on campus, just have the atmosphere be on campus again. And I know towards the end of the season, we had fans back in the game, so it was nice, and also gives the parents who came to the game to see what the campus looks like, because campus has changed so much. So it actually gave them to see what campus looks like. And I know a couple of schools that came here, they're like, wow, the campus is beautiful, because they'd never seen campus before. So it was actually quite nice to showcase Sacred Heart University as well.
And lastly, it's only been 2 seasons since you guys qualified for the Northeast Conference tournament. It seems like a lot longer ago, but what does this year's team have to do to make it back to that point?
Just continue to believe in the process. That's what we tell the team every day. Just believe in the process, trust the process. We're getting there. We are getting better and stronger every game after game after game. We're learning from our mistakes and we're moving forward. And conference game starts the first week in October, so we have cut some time before we get there. But it's just at the end of the day, it's just trust the process. And know that we are going to start winning games, and they just got to believe in each other, and we'll go from there.
Field hockey team continues their season as they hope to make it back to the conference tournament for the first time since 2019. Coach, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you very much.